Let's talk about lionfish. So I have mixed feelings about lionfish. On the one hand, I love them like so much. They're up there with some of my favorite fish. They look so cool, but they are incredibly invasive in many areas, and they are causing a lot of problems. So lionfish are native to the Indian and Indo-Pacific Oceans around places like Japan, Indonesia, and Australia, and that's all fine and dandy. That's where they're supposed to be. The ecosystem has evolved with them, so they're not causing any problems there. However, they have been introduced to places where they're not supposed to be, largely the Caribbean and Florida, where they are causing so many problems because they should not be there. They're also apparently getting introduced to the Mediterranean as well, which is again, bad. We don't want that. So in their normal range, they tend to be found around reefs and shallow, more coastal areas where they tend to be on their own. They're pretty aggressive anyways. They don't like other fish and they don't like each other. So much so that they tend to be cannibalistic occasionally. But again, natively, where they're supposed to be, that's not really a problem because all of the other wildlife and everything has evolved alongside them and can deal with them. However, in places where they're not supposed to be, like the Caribbean, the other fish don't really know how to deal with them. And so they don't avoid them as they should, and so that causes problems because these very aggressive fish, aggressive to even divers, will just attack other fish, which is not good. So these very aggressive and voracious fish will eat pretty much anything they can kill, and they also have very toxic spines on them, so they really don't have any predators in these areas where they're invasive to. Again, in areas where they're supposed to be, they have natural predators that have evolved to be able to eat them, but in Florida and the Caribbean, they do not. Things don't really know how to get around these spikes, so they don't really try. Now, there have been cases of people trying to, like marine professionals, trying to train local sharks in how to eat them. Some cases it has been going well because sharks aren't as affected by the venom as other things. They just don't really know how to get at it around the spikes. And there's also professional divers where their whole job is to go and spearfish these invasive lionfish, and then they either feed them to the sharks and stuff, or since they are also edible, they sell or even just give them away to local fish markets because you can, eat them. They're not, the most amazing thing, but they're very common and very cheap. So, while I really do like lionfish, I like them in their native areas, and unfortunately, they are heavily decreasing Caribbean and Florida and Mediterranean biodiversity, which is a massive problem because we need biodiversity to have a healthy ecosystem. So, as with most invasive species, the easiest and most effective way to get rid of them and help the environment is unfortunately trying to eradicate them from areas that they are not supposed to be in.